All right, Jason Kidd is out as the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, officially a parting of the ways between the Mavs and Jason Kidd. Kidd spent 5 years on the job in Dallas, took the team to the 2024 NBA Finals, struggled this year, a lot of chaos in Dallas during his final season, but ultimately, new president of basketball operations, Masai Ujiri, decided to make a change. So let's unpack this a little bit, because in some ways, it was a surprise that Kidd was let go, because Kidd has been a pretty popular figure in Dallas over the last couple of seasons. He's got a strong relationship with ownership. Ownership there led by Patrick Dumont. It has extended him twice in the last couple of years after the team went to the finals in 2024. Last year, when Kidd was approached about the New York Knicks head coaching job, the Mavericks have been fully committed to Jason Kidd. There are 4 years and almost $40 million left on this contract of Jason Kidd. So Dallas is going to eat a lot of money over the rest of his deal to let Jason go. Jason also has a strong relationship with Cooper Flagg. He has had the endorsement, I've been told, of Kelly Flagg, the mother of Cooper, who also has a good relationship with ownership. But he's got a great relationship with Kyrie Irving, who is likely to be back on the Mavericks roster next season. So in that sense, it was a surprise. Where it wasn't a big shock is because Masai Ujiri has had, or did have, multiple opportunities to say that Jason Kidd was going to be his coach. Dating back to his first press conference, he was asked point blank if Kidd would stay, and he kind of hemmed and hawed about it, rolled the fence on it, said he would have conversations with Kidd, but he was going to evaluate this team from top to bottom. Now, Masai does not have a history of coming into a job and just firing the head coach. If we look back at his time in Denver, he kept George Karl on when he took over for the Nuggets. In Toronto, he comes on board, keeps Dwayne Casey right away. So it's not like he was necessarily looking to fire Jason Kidd, but while their conversations over the last few weeks, I'm told, were cordial, they were not necessarily productive. And they did not make anyone that was aware of these talks believe that this was going to be a dynamic that was going to work moving forward. Now, there's been some chatter in the aftermath about Masai wanting to fire Jason because he wanted to get rid of the last remnants of the Luka Doncic deal. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Jason Kidd's fingerprints and where were they when it came to the Doncic deal. He has said he had nothing to do with it. Other people, like Mark Cuban, have suggested otherwise. So there's been some talk that maybe Masai wanted to just have a completely clean slate, nothing to do with the Luka Doncic era. At his press conference on Wednesday, Masai said that was not necessarily the case. And I tend to believe him. I don't think that was paramount on the list of reasons why Jason Kidd is no longer a head coach. I've had it suggested to me by a couple of people that are familiar with this dynamic, familiar with this situation, that perhaps among the reasons that Masai may want to have made a change is to potentially avoid a future power struggle. I've reported in the past that Jason Kidd, once Nico Harrison was fired, he was interested in being the president of basketball operations. He was interested in running the team from the front office. And I think he had a chance at that early on in that process. But as the process continued, there was a belief internally that Kidd's best position for the future of this team, the best place he could be, was on the bench coaching Cooper Flagg, coaching this team. So it didn't work out for him there. As I mentioned, Kidd has a great relationship with Dumont, great relationship with Cooper Flagg, great relationship with Kyrie Irving. There certainly was the possibility that as time went on, if Kidd stayed on the job, that this could have gotten a little bit messy. If Masai and Kidd disagreed on the direction of this team, could there be a conflict there? Could it lead to some conversations behind the scenes that doesn't necessarily need to happen? Could it lead to some stuff leaking out about this dynamic? There's a sense from people that I've talked to that maybe Masai Ujiri just wanted to avoid all that. And look, maybe he likes Jason Kidd as a coach. There's a lot of reasons to like Jason Kidd as a coach. He's an excellent developmental coach. He worked really well with Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee. He worked well with Luka Doncic for a long period of time in Dallas. And he helped develop Cooper Flagg into the Rookie of the Year. But perhaps the potential for conflict down the line was something that Masai and his staff took into account as they were making this decision. Now, they can move forward, look for a new head coach. I don't think there's anybody necessarily on their radar. You can certainly name the usual suspects. I would imagine Sean Sweeney, the former kid assistant, who is now the lead assistant in San Antonio, is very high on their list. Sean, like Jason, has a great history of player development, still has great relationship with Giannis, still has great relationships with Luka Doncic and all the players that he works with. I would imagine that he's high on their list, and I'm sure there will be others as they cast the wide net that Masai mentioned during his press conference. But ultimately, Masai, his staff, they decided that this dynamic just wasn't the dynamic that they wanted to work in moving forward. And this was the strongest statement yet, that Masai has the full support of ownership, that they're willing to eat the rest of Jason's contract. A coach that they really liked, a coach that they believed in, someone that Dumont publicly has supported over the last few months, that they're willing to eat that, says that Masai has broad authority, full authority to rebuild this team in the way that he likes. So the Jason Kidd era ends, and really the last remnants of the Luka Doncic era in Dallas is gone as well.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.